Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. A worker from the Yuzhibo family when a traveler arrived at the Uchiha clan and bound a golden finger called the strongest worker system, the style of the Uchiha clan seemed to undergo a strange change. Ding! Successfully working, earning 10,000 taels of salary, converted to 10,000 working hours, and awarded the work reward. Breath of the sun. Ding! Successfully working, earning 100,000 taels of salary, converted into 100,000 working points, and awarded the work reward. Shockwave fruit. Ding! Successfully working, earn 1 million taels of salary, convert into 1 million working points, and receive a work reward. Flowing blade like fire. Yuzhibo. Working people, working souls, working is like being a human being. Come on, working people. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw some flowers? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The Strongest Worker System. 1/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ninja Continent. The Land of Fire. Woodleaf 42 years old. This is a very special year. Of course, it's not because this year, Uchiha Daitu, Noera Lin, Yufei Asma, Yuriko, and others successfully graduated from ninja school and were promoted to a ninja school, which is worth commemorating. But because of this young man who came through time travel, the progress bar that had been loaded in his mind for 9 years has finally been loaded and completed today. His name is Yuzhibo. He was originally just an ordinary worker in society. Due to the boss's pressure, he, who was already in poor health, successfully died suddenly during overtime. After his sudden death, he traveled directly to the world of Hokage. After realizing that he had come to Kiba village among Narutos and became a member of the Uchiha clan, he said that his heart was extremely complicated. He is clear about the fate of the Uchiha clan in the manga. That genocide. Thinking about it makes his scalp feel numb. Especially since he is still the biological grandson of the elder in the Uchiha clan, especially after he was born, a few years later, his parents played GG in a mission. This led to him becoming the only descendant of the elder's lineage. A noble identity is self-evident. This kind of identity is what makes him even more distressed. If it's an ordinary character in the Uchiha clan, probably no one remembers it yet. Just sneak out early before the night of extermination. A small character, once left, probably won't even pay attention to Kiba F4. How could he still slip away with such a prominent and spicy identity? There's no way. He can only walk step by step in the normal order. Fortunately, when he traveled, there was always a progress bar in his eyes. Although he couldn't be sure what it was, as a traveler, he felt that this thing should be his golden finger, so he waited and waited for 9 years. This system is finally at the end of today's graduation assessment. The progress bar loading is complete. Yuzhibo expressed that he was extremely excited. He had been waiting for this day for too long, and today he finally got his wish fulfilled. His always anxious heart also relaxed. Ding! The strongest worker system, binding. Ding! Binding successful. The sound echoed in my mind. Yuzhibo said it's not surprising at all. Those systematic novels and the like are all like this. System, introduce yourself. Yuzhibo secretly thought to himself. He was about to listen to the strongest worker system and give a lengthy lecture, but the result was that the system did not emphasize martial ethics. He did not follow the normal procedure, but instead directly instilled the system's functions into his mind, making him understand all the functions of the system in an instant. Just like the name of this system. The strongest worker system. As the name suggests. The main core is to work. And there are 2 types of work, one is to work as a long-term worker, and the other is to work as a short-term worker. Working as a long-term laborer. That is to say, working full-time for a long and stable period of time, with wages calculated on a monthly basis. Working as a temporary worker can be called a temporary worker. It is a job that involves a short period of time and is unstable. Both types of work can earn him rewards. Firstly, it is the work site. The salary earned by working will be converted in a 1.1 ratio. If the salary is 10,000 taels, he will also receive 10,000 working points, which are used to improve his own ability level. And the ability level is divided into 9 levels. LV1, LV2, LV3, LV4, LV5, LV6, LV7, LV8, and LV9. The same. Each level requires a certain number of work points to upgrade. The upgrade list points for skill levels are as follows. LV1, 0/1.0000, LV2, 0/10.0000, LV3, 0/100.0000, LV4, 0/1000.0000, LV5, 0/1.0000.0000, LV6, 0/10.0000.0000, LV7, 0/100.0000.000, LV8, 0/1000.0000.000, LV9, 0/1.0000.00000.000. The early level upgrade does not require much, but the higher the level upgrade, the more work points are needed. In the information provided by the system, he knew what level each level corresponded to. LV1 was equal to the immortal stage, LV2 was equal to the medium ninja stage, LV3 was equal to the upper ninja stage, LV4 was equal to the quasi-shadow stage, LV5 was equal to the shadow stage, LV6 was equal to the super shadow stage, LV7 was equal to the 6 realm stage, and LV8 and LV9 were already stages beyond this world. That is to say, he only needs to elevate his abilities to the level of LV5, and he doesn't have to worry about the Night of Destruction at all. Currently in the realm of ninja, there are only 2 who have reached the level of Super Shadow, one is Uchiha and the other is between the 1,000-handed pillars. However, so far, Xian Shou Zhu Jian is already GG. But Yuzhibo still hangs his life with an external demon statue, silently dedicating himself to the Moon Eye plan. Of course, this is not important. The functionality of the system. There is also a difference in rewards between working as a long-term worker and working as a short-term worker. The difference lies in the fact that every time I work, there is a certain chance to receive additional rewards, which can be abilities, weapons, and all kinds of possibilities, such as Navy 6, Overlord Color and Dominance, or Soul-Slaying Blade with a Fiery Blade, as well as the possibility of breaking Jade or 10 taels. It can be the same. There is also a chance to receive rewards. The probability list for long-term employment is over 1,000 liang/month. There is a 1% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly salary. More than 10,000 taels per month. There is a 5% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. Over 100,000 taels per month. There is a 10% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly salary. Over 1 million taels per month. There is a 30% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly salary. Over 10 million taels per month. There is a 50% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. Over 100 million taels/month. There is a 70% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly wages. Over 1 billion taels per month. There is a 100% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly wages. Working as a long-term laborer is calculated based on monthly salary, and the higher the salary, the higher the chance of receiving a work reward. Of course, the opposite is also true. As for working part-time. So this probability list is like this. 1000 taels or more / once. There is a 0.5% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly salary. 10,000 taels or more / once. There is a 3% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. 100,000 taels or more / once. There is a 5% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly salary. More than 1 million taels / once. There is a 10% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. More than 10 million taels / once. There is a 15% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. More than 100 million taels / once. There is a 30% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. More than 1 billion taels / once. There is a 50% chance of receiving a random work reward when receiving monthly wages. More than 10 billion taels / once. There is a 70% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly wages. More than 100 billion taels / once. There is a 100% chance of receiving a random work award when receiving monthly wages. There is a big difference between working as a long-term laborer. Especially for the same salary, the probability of receiving a work reward is much lower than that of receiving a work reward as a long-term worker. In addition, there is another difference between working as a short-term worker and working as a long-term worker. That is to say, the salary for long-term workers is calculated on a monthly basis, while the salary for short-term workers is calculated on a one-time basis. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? Chapter 2. Difficulties in finding a job. February 5th. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yuzhibo, who had just become a ninja under Kiba, fell into contemplation. After looking at the reward at the work site and then at the newly obtained lower protective forehead in his hand, he was lost in thought. Should he go to work, or should he go to work? It's really a confusing choice. However, in no time, Yuzhibo made a choice. He chose to work. Why not rely on a system? He has been in this world for 9 years and has been learning chakra and ninjutsu from scratch. The improvement of his strength can be said to be incredibly profound, difficult in just one word. Even though he comes from the Uchiha clan and will have the Sharingan after opening his eyes in the future, his cultivation talent can only be said to be slightly better, similar to those of ape-flying Asma, Zirihong, and others. He finally understood. In this world of Hokage, if you don't have a bloodline or something, your talent is average, and your hard work is at most just a quasi-shadow. If you add some luck, at most a shadow level can be achieved. However, in the Fourth Ninja World War, the shadow level cannot be displayed, at most it is a larger dragon trap. If you are unlucky, you may even play GG. That's why. Yuzhibo believes that as a standard traveler, if you need to rely on the system, you must rely on the system. Relying on oneself. The only thing that is available is this system that took 9 years to load successfully. I waited for 9 years. Can you take a shortcut? Why not take it? Just as you can scrape 10 million yuan from a lottery ticket, why don't you scrape it? It doesn't make sense. Not to mention anything else. Yuzhibo's heart was already calculating what kind of job he should look for. Working as a long-term laborer. When it comes to low wages, there are really very few jobs like that. Jobs that cost less than 10,000 taels per month are not uncommon, but rather rare. A salary of over 10,000 taels per month is quite a lot. But he thinks he should be able to glimpse a salary of over 100,000 taels per month. There's no way. Who is called a long-term worker? With a salary of over 100,000 taels per month, there is a 10% chance of receiving a work reward, while those with a salary of over 10,000 taels per month and less than 100,000 taels per month have only a 5% chance of receiving a work reward. The difference of 5% is still significant. But the fact is, he really thinks too much. I'm just daydreaming about how much my salary is before I even find a job. Result: he ran through the leaves of wood for half a day. The final result is not to hire child labor. Misty grass. Yuzhibo spat fiercely in his mouth. He was really helpless at this moment. He didn't know that this group of bosses didn't hire child laborers, which was too much. How could he work and how could he win work prizes? Time is money. It took up a little bit of time, and he felt like he had lost a lot this time. It's uncomfortable. Yuzhibo himself can also see that these people are not only not accepting child labor, but the main reason is because he is a member of the Yuzhibo clan. In the wooden leaves, people of the Yuzhibo clan will really face hostility. Not to mention anything else, just the Kiba security force can basically be said to be held by members of the Uchiha clan. Such a position has never been a good one, and it is too easy to offend people. Over the past few decades. Not to mention offending all the people in Mai, but also offending 20.3%. There is another wave of rumors, and the reputation of the Uchiha clan goes without saying. Among the common people in Mai, 9 out of 10 have a bad attitude towards the Uchiha clan. The reason why he was rejected when looking for a job was probably because he belonged to the Uchiha clan, accounting for 90%. This made him very uncomfortable. But there's no other way. Identity is something that is predetermined at birth and cannot be changed. Take a step and see. So far, Yuzhibo can only think this way. The dream of working as a long-term laborer with a monthly salary of over 100,000 taels woke up on the spot. Under a series of blows. Yuzhibo also wandered around the village and walked. Before he knew it, he came to a noodle shop. Coincidentally, this shop was the famous Lamian Noodles shop in my village. Lamian Noodles opened only a few years ago. At this moment, Uncle Yile is still very young. If we were to talk about his age, he may not be very clear, but judging from his appearance, he should be around 20 years old. Look at this noodle shop. Yuzhibo couldn't help but think. Is it possible to find a job at Lamian Noodles temporarily? This seems to be a good choice. Eat some noodles and then ask the boss. Yuzhibo strode into Lamian Noodles store. A bowl of Lamian noodles with normal taste will do. After entering, he sat down and said to Yile. Okay, please wait a moment. Uncle Yile had a sunny smile on his face, and there was no surprise when he saw someone coming, because it was not the first time Yuzhibo had eaten noodles here. He often saw Yuzhibo coming to his place to eat noodles. Over time, I get used to it. Overall, his relationship with Yuzhibo is still very good. Uncle Yile, why are you so lonely here? Your Lamian Noodles is not bad. Why are there so few guests? Yuzhibo looked at several empty places around him and couldn't help but ask. He has tasted Lamian Noodles many times, and the taste is absolutely good, and the price is also very cheap. This point, when Naruto asked Chuda to go out for dinner, Chuda saw Naruto's embarrassment, and proposed to eat Lamian Noodles. We can see how cheap Lamian Noodles is. You kid, don't even look at what time it is now. It's late at night and I'm almost closing. How many customers do you expect to have at this time? Just listen. Yile's face also turned black, and he explained. If it weren't for knowing that this kid was acting unintentionally, he would definitely go over and let the other person know how to behave. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love. Can we throw a flower? Chapter 3. Lamian Noodles, find a job. 3/5. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yuzhibo turned his head and looked outside. It's pitch black. Ah. Why is it getting dark? Yuzhibo said that when people are focused, time passes too quickly, making it difficult for them to take precautions. The statement, time is money, is indeed true. He secretly sighed in his heart. One day. He just lost one day's wages like this. For a moment. Yile brought up the prepared noodles. Please. Yile is still very confident in her craftsmanship. Yuzhibo also picked up his chopsticks and started eating them. The noodles tasted smooth and the soup was even more delicious. This kind of craftsmanship was really amazing. He was willing to give Yile 18 likes and send them out in a 6-to-6 way. A few slutty sluts. A bowl of Lamian noodles with one bowl of music soon lost half of its bowl. Uncle Yile, are you hiring workers here? Yuzhibo spoke out and asked. Uncle. Yile only felt that Yuzhibo's eyes were blind, and he really wanted to scoop a spoonful of noodle soup to wash his eyes. He was only 26 years old this year, so how could he become an uncle in your mouth? You don't want to work here, do you? Yile tentatively asked. Uncle Yile, you're really smart. Yuzhibo gave the other person a thumbs up and grinned. Yile. Are you sure you're not teasing me? You are the biological grandson of the elder of the Uchiha tribe, and you still want to work. You kid, don't tease me anymore. If you're short of money, you won't be short of money. You're still working, isn't that just teasing me? Yile said with a skeptical expression. I'm not joking. Yuzhibo is also helpless. Due to the system's limitations, if he wants to become stronger, he will have to work. If possible, he doesn't want to work either. He also wants to have clothes and food to eat, but how can life force him? Due to the system, he could only reluctantly embark on the path of a migrant worker. Shouldn't you argue with your grandfather and run away from home? Yile's mind began to fill with the plot. Sun Tzu and Grandpa had different ideas and had a big argument. Sun Tzu ran out to run away from home, only to find that he didn't have much money on him, so he had to start looking for a job to earn money to support himself. I have a good relationship with my grandfather. Uncle Yile, please don't bother. Yuzhibo looked at Yile's gradually strange gaze, and he basically guessed the other person's thoughts. Most likely, he had a novel plot in his mind that was no less than a few million words long. Then you have enough to eat and hold on. Yile's face immediately peeled off. Boredom. Is this a wealthy person? Sure enough, there is a feeling of idle pain. Despite not lacking money and having a strong background, I still want to work at his small noodle shop. Yuzhibo was also very speechless. He doesn't want to either. But unfortunately, it's all due to the system forcing him. Uncle Yile, at least I graduated from ninja school and always ask for money from home. I'm really embarrassed, so I'm thinking of finding a job. At least, having some income can help me buy a few ninja items. Yuzhibo casually made up a reason. One sentence. Junko will come soon. You're only 9 years old, okay? With a twitch of his mouth, he was very speechless. At this age, even in a normal family, people usually play outside, or at most, do something for their family. However, you are doing well here. You have just graduated and become a ninja, and you still want to find a job for yourself to earn some extra income. Take it, take it. Uncle Yile, have you ever heard such a saying? To make money, you have to take the early opportunity, Yuzhibo said slowly. What? Yile looked bewildered. Who taught you this sentence on horseback? I'll beat him to death with a rolling pin. Even if it's making money, it's better to take it early. There's no need to be as early as you are. You're only 9 years old, 9 years old. But didn't you become a ninja? After becoming a ninja, didn't you have a lot of tasks? If you had money, it would be better to do more tasks. Yile also has some understanding of ninjas. If it weren't for him inheriting the family's craftsmanship. Otherwise, he would just become a ninja. Uncle Yile, you're wrong. I'm leaving myself a way out. Yuzhibo sighed, don't you know such a sentence? Writing a novel. Bah, being a ninja is a dead end. Lu. Where did you hear so many words? Why did I stay in Kiba for so many years and still hear it for the first time? If you want to come, I don't mind either, but my salary here is not that high. Yao did not continue to refuse. He also noticed Yuzhibo's attitude and seemed to really want to find a job. The other party just said that, in fact, he also slightly agreed. As a ninja, there is a dead end. Although ninjas look very cool. But he is not a fool at all. Ninjas are a very dangerous profession. Over the years, some customers who often come to his place to eat noodles suddenly disappeared one day. After a while, he heard the news of the other person's death. It can be seen from this. The mortality rate of ninjas is still very high. How much salary would you be willing to give me for a month, Uncle Yile? Yuzhibo asked. A monthly salary of 20,000 taels, not including food and accommodation. Yao glanced at Yuzhibo, thought for a moment, and said. I took on this job. Yuzhibo's eyes lit up and he immediately took on this job. A salary of 10,000 taels to 100,000 taels per month has a 5% chance of receiving a work reward. As for money. He, who has not found a job yet, is very satisfied with the salary offered by Yile for this job. For a normal job, with a monthly income of over 15,000 taels, the food is almost enough to support a family of 3. In Yile, the average salary is around 17,000 taels, and he can earn 20,000 taels per month, which is already quite good. Then I'll come to work tomorrow. Yuzhibo also started eating noodles big, and now that he has a job, his appetite is great. He can eat all 3 bowls. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? Chapter 4. Graduation Gifts. April 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The amount of salary is also useful for Yuzhibo. When he receives his salary, he is given a corresponding job position. And the use of working points is simple. Upgrade skills. Any ability can be used for upgrading. Ninjutsu, physical skills, hallucinations, or bloodline boundaries can all be considered skills. And the skill levels from low to high are LV0, LV1, LV2, LV3, LV4, LV5, LV6, LV7, LV8, LV9, these 10 levels. LV0, at its lowest level, can be said to be at the level of an ordinary person. LV1 corresponds to the level of endurance. LV2, corresponding to the level of endurance. LV3 corresponds to the level of tolerance. LV4 corresponds to the level of shadow level. LV5, corresponding to the level of super shadow level. LV6 corresponds to the level of the 6 realms. LV7. This level has already exceeded the upper limit of this ninja's world. However, each level requires a significant amount of work points to be consumed. The upgrade lists for levels are LV0, 0/1000, LV1, 0/1.0000, LV2, 0/10.0000, LV3, 0/100.0000, LV4, 0/1000.0000, LV5, 0/1.0000.0000, LV6, 0/10.0000.0000, LV7, 0/100.0000.000, LV8, 0/1000.0000.000, LV9, 0/1.0000.000, Upgrading from the initial LV0 to LV1 only requires 1000 working hours, which is very cheap. The following levels will all be raised in decimal format. Just talk about reaching the level of Super Shadow. What is needed in total is 1.1111.1000 working hours. I won't say anything else. With his current monthly salary of 20,000. To earn this amount of money, it may take 5,556 months. Convert to adult. That is 463 years. Don't say if he can live that long for now. Just over a decade later, in the event of Uchiha's extermination night, if he didn't have enough strength, he would probably have sacrificed himself on the spot. But fortunately, he can also work part-time. Working part-time can also earn you a job. Besides that, he also needs to plan to find a higher-paying job in the future. Otherwise, I'm afraid he will go crazy on the night of the extermination. After a full meal, he also helped Uncle Yile clean up the things in the store. Although Uncle Yile said he didn't need to be so troublesome, he still helped, saying, "Get used to work first, after all, from tomorrow on, Uncle Yile will be his own boss." Employees who do not establish good relationships with their bosses are not good employees. After resolving this issue, Yuzhibo went back. Today's graduation assessment for Xia Ren has just ended. If it weren't for the successful system loading, he should be at home now, rather than struggling to find a job at Yile after a day of work outside. At home. But someone had already been waiting for him. Grandpa. Yuzhibo's gaze fell on the person with the highest voice in the Yuzhibo clan, and he called out. He didn't expect that the other party would choose to squat and wait for him to come back. "Where did you go?" The elder of the Uchiha clan, also known as Uchiha's biological grandfather, spoke out calmly. "A gathering of friends for a meal." Yuzhibo pondered for a moment and answered in this way. He thinks it's better not to tell his grandfather about his job search outside for a while. According to the other person's personality, if he finds out, he doesn't know what extreme things he will do. Starting from today, you will be a ninja under your name. Remember not to lose face with our Uchiha clan after leaving, and this is your graduation gift. Yuzhibo spoke with a stern expression. A wooden box was also taken out by him and placed in front of Yuzhibo. After finishing these tasks, Yuzhibo left directly. See the situation. He shrugged his shoulders. He didn't particularly care about the other party's attitude either. He has a deep understanding of how his own old man is over the years. Stubborn, serious, and demanding. These words are mostly used to describe his grandfather. Looking back on his years, he only felt bitter. In front of such a rigid, serious, and demanding grandfather of the Uchiha clan, his training days are getting harder and harder day by day, not because of anything else, but because being a member of the Uchiha clan cannot be shameful. So, he spent all day training, not only training but also training. Ninjutsu. Swordsmanship. Illusion. Under the training of Yuzhibo, he has learned everything. As for how much has been learned, he can only say that apart from ninjutsu, he has not learned anything else. Actually, he is also very helpless. As a traveler, one must be a genius at any rate. Looking at so many senior adventurers, they can easily open a bunch of big gift packages in the system either with various talents and explosive lists. They can easily learn what they want to learn by looking at it once, or some can become invincible after directly traversing. He is different. Because he is a mediocre talent. Simply put, he has no talent. He can't learn at a glance, and even some ninjutsu requires him to practice it 10 or 20 times before he can barely learn it. It's a matter of distance, mastery, and mastery. That distance is still 108,000 miles away. Looking at the graduation gift his grandfather had prepared for him, he didn't hesitate and opened it directly. A scroll. A ninjutsu scroll. Yuzhibo took the scroll out of the wooden box and opened it to take a look. Fire escape. The art of Hail Wokyu. Fire escape. Fire Phoenix immortal technique. Fire escape. The art of dragon fire. Fire escape, head diligent. Fire escape. Extinguish the great fire. Fire escape. Destruction of the great fire. Fire escape. The pile of ninjutsu really caught Yuzhibo's eye. He didn't expect it to be the graduation gift prepared by his old man for him. It was really amazing. There were dozens of fire escape ninjutsu on it, and if it were thrown away, its value would be immeasurable. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? Chapter 5. Division begins. May 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This fire escape ninjutsu scroll holds extraordinary significance for him. However, even as the elder of the Uchiha clan, Yuma Uchiha probably put in a lot of effort to complete this fire escape ninjutsu scroll. There is no unity within the family. On the contrary, there is a feeling of scattered sand. The main battle faction. The moderate faction. And the neutral faction. This is the current situation of the Uchiha clan. His grandfather Uchiha Yoshimasa advocated for a pro-war faction within the Uchiha clan, while the current clan leader Uchiha Fuyue is a pro-peace faction. As for the neutral faction, it is a minority of several elders, mainly because they do not express any opinions and do not participate in either side. Yuzhibo is very clear. As time goes by, the Uchiha clan will be increasingly targeted by the higher-ups of Hokage, until the birth of Prince Ming, when the Nine Taels rebellion began. This incident was like a fuse, and the final result was the night of the Uchiha clan's extermination. And in the end, the moderate Uchiha Fuyue did not even resist and directly let his son Uchiha Itachi be stabbed to death. Finally, the Uchiha clan was completely submerged in history. There are only a few remaining members of the Uchiha clan. But Yuzhibo is not willing to accept such a result at all. These ninjutsu techniques can just enhance my strength. Yuzhibo's thoughts surged in his heart. At present, his strength is too weak to intervene in the Uchiha clan or anything related to Kiba. From the current situation, what he needs to do is to work hard to improve his own strength. Then, he opened his personal panel. Generally speaking, as long as it is a system, there is usually a personal panel belonging to the host, which can clearly understand everything about oneself. His system is no exception. Host. Yuzhibo, Energy. Chakral 1, 0/1.0000, Blood Inheritance Limit. Right Will ILV 0, 0/1000, Ninjutsu. Shadow Clone Art LV 1, 0/1.0000, Fireball Art LV 1, 0/1.0000, Instant Body Art LV 1, 0/1.0000, Work Point. 0. His panel is clear at a glance. It's really too simplistic. He felt a sense of shock when he looked at it, realizing that he was so weak. Has the three-body technique not been recorded? Because the skill level is not up to LV1. Why was the Sharingan recorded? Is it because of the blood inheritance limit carried by oneself? Yuzhibo pondered for a moment and made a basic assessment of the current situation. What he can currently see is: the first point is that when the learned ninjutsu, body art, illusion, etc. do not meet the LV1 standard determined by the system, they will not be loaded on the personal panel. Secondly, except for some special health inheritance limits and abilities, the inherent abilities will be directly loaded into them at the LV0 level. Yuzhibo recorded these 2 points in his heart. Since my writing will I has been displayed as data, does this mean that as long as I have enough work points, my writing will I can evolve indefinitely? Since LV0 represents an unopened writing will I, does LV1 level writing will I represent a 1-hook jade writing will I? If so, LV2 level corresponds to a 2-hook jade writing will I, LV3 corresponds to a 3-hook jade writing will I, LV4 corresponds to a kaleidoscope writing will I, LV5 corresponds to an eternal kaleidoscope writing will I, and LV6 corresponds to a reincarnation I level. If that's really the case, then I just need to upgrade my chakra and L Sharingan to the level of LV5, so I don't have to worry about the night of extinction in the future. However, upgrading all of them to the LV5 level would require 22221,000 working hours and a huge cost. With my current salary of 20,000 yuan per month, it would take 1,000 months to make up for it, which would take over 80 years. I don't have that much time. However, I forgot one thing earlier. Since ninjas are paid to do tasks, whether they have completed tasks such as, C, B, etc., and whether it is considered as part-time work, if so, it can help me quickly gather a large number of work points. Yuzhibo's thoughts surged as he analyzed how to take each step of his life well. The top priority. What he needs to do is earn a large number of job opportunities, and then improve his strength to see the results, so that he can make a judgment on what to do next. The next day. First, he separated himself to deal with the work of Yile Lamian Noodles. He had already thought about it when he was looking for a job. First, use a shadow clone to replace oneself in working. Most people cannot see the problem. Of course, this premise is that the shadow clone cannot take more damage than him, otherwise the shadow clone will be relieved on the spot, which is really embarrassing. If he is caught using the shadow clone to work, he may be fired on the spot. However, today's class is divided, and he himself has to be on site no matter what. At this moment, he couldn't help but feel grateful for his wit and chose to learn the art of shadow clone. Under the guidance of his grandfather, he quickly learned the art of shadow clone. Unfortunately, he didn't have the physique of Naruto Vortex, and chakra was just a normal person's water level. Especially now, he is only enduring and can only separate a physical shadow clone. Come to the class. Almost all the students are waiting for the teacher's arrival. A look of boredom. There are many familiar students, including characters from anime such as Yuriko, Asma Monkey Fly, Mute Sound, Uchiha Daitu, and Noera Lin. However, currently, these people still appear very immature. Yuzhibo found a seat and sat down. Not long ago. The teacher is here. Everyone is quiet. Next, we will start dividing classes. The teacher in front of the blackboard knocked on the desk in front of him, and the noisy voice also decreased. It was then that he slowly spoke out. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? Must see. Add more rules. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yenzu, you're here. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Every day, there is a guaranteed minimum of 5 shifts, and there is no thunder or lightning. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. 2,000 flowers, plus 1 watch. Yenzu, remember to throw flowers. Chapter 6. Division. 1/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 7. Team Leader, Gangshou. February 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Creak. Before Yuzhibo could say anything, the door to the classroom was opened. Sorry for being late. Chimu Kakashi, Yuzhibo Daitu, and Noera Lin, come with me. A young man with yellow hair came in, his face apologetic, as if feeling embarrassed for being late. Bo Feng Shui Men. Yuzhibo's gaze immediately locked onto the other party. This young man, who looked like the sun, was the fourth-generation Hokage of the future. He even resorted to the technique of sealing off all corpses and ghosts to seal the 9 taels, even onto his newborn son, for the sake of the village. This one is really much better than the third-generation Hokage. Under his inference, if Bo Feng Shui Gate had not sacrificed due to the 9 taels, then the Uchiha clan would never have gone down the path of annihilation under the leadership of such a fire shadow. Because of the other person's personality, they will not engage in the act of stabbing themselves in the back. Hello everyone, starting today, I am the teacher of Class 7, Bo Feng Shui Men. Please give me more guidance in the future. The Feng Shui Gate seemed to sense the gaze of Yuzhibo and also looked over. Then, a sunny and bright smile appeared, greeting the three of them. Hello, my name is Yuzhibo. I have long heard of the famous name of Bo Feng Shangren. I hope to communicate with you in the future. Yuzhibo and others also responded. They will definitely have some intersection in the future, and now they have a good understanding. Ha, I'm also so famous. Bo Feng Shui Men also laughed. We'll leave first, your teacher. I reckon we'll need some more time. Bo Feng Shui Men glanced at Yuzhibo a few more times, and then reminded him with an inexplicable expression on his face. After speaking, he left with Kiki Kakashi, Yukabo Daitu, and Noera Rin, leaving the entire classroom with the three of them. What did he mean by what he just said? Yuzhibo's eyebrows furrowed. I always feel that what Bo Feng Shui Men said earlier was not simple. Since the other party said so, it indicates that they know the identity of their team leader and also understand their team leader's habits. That's why they said this sentence. It may take some time. He just doesn't know how long the phrase, probably needs some more time, in the entrance of the Feng Shui Gate means. The result is they waited for a long, long time. It's already noon, isn't it? What's wrong with this team leader? Yuzhibo glanced at the sun outside, and the temperature had already risen. He came over early in the morning to accept the division, which ended at 9 o'clock. Even if Bo Feng Shui Men was late, he was only 1 hour late and arrived around 10 o'clock. But now, it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He now understood that when Bo Feng Shui said that sentence, there was a strange expression on his face. The other party guessed that they would have to wait so long. Gee, I'm so hungry. Why hasn't the team leader come yet? Shi Rihong lay weakly on the table and said lazily. I'm the same. The team leader won't forget us, right? Why don't we go have dinner first before coming over? The silent posture is basically the same as Shi Rihong, but she suggested so. Let's go, I'm too lazy to wait. Yuzhibo stood up from his position and walked towards the direction of the door. If the team leader didn't come for a day, wouldn't they be starving in the classroom for a day? What kind of joke would he be unwilling to make? Bang! Just as Shi Rihong and Mute Yin were smiling and getting up to go out with Yuzhibo, the door of the classroom suddenly opened. With a loud bang, Yuzhibo felt like he could hear the wailing of the door. Hello, hello, the little ghost now really doesn't have any patience. I'm just a few hours late, isn't that enough patience? At the entrance of the classroom, there was a person with light yellow hair tied in a ponytail, dressed in her usual attire. She was still holding a wine glass in her hand, and her cheeks were slightly rosy. Obviously, this was caused by drinking alcohol. Master Gumgate. Master Gumgate. When Shi Rihong and Mute Yin saw this person, they immediately reacted and exclaimed in surprise. Gangshou, one of the 3 ninjas. Yuzhibo couldn't help but take another look at the other person, who was not wearing any wooden leaf protectors at all. Seeing the other person's drunken appearance, he could basically infer that it was because the other person didn't care at all that they didn't wear them. The old man of the third generation of Yuzhibo nationality is really an old fogey. It's really a headache. Gangshou spoke slowly in a distressed tone. But there was no hint of distress on the other person's face. On the contrary, he also picked up the wine bottle in his hand, took a light sip, and looked at the three of them with slightly confused eyes. "All right, you three, come with me. Today you are my students in class 9, and I'll treat you to barbecue. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower?" Chapter 8. Little Butterfly Flapping Its Wings. 3/5. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A barbecue restaurant. Because it was a treat from Gangshou, Yuzhibo didn't show any courtesy and ordered the most expensive grilled meat, serving several portions. Hey, the little ghost now is really not polite at all. Gangshou curled his lips and took a small sip of the wine before saying, "It's better than your aunt hanging us in the school classroom for hours and making us hungry. Is that what teachers should do?" "Then I really love," said Yuzhibo directly. He doesn't care about what the other person's identity is. "Well, I was drinking at a tavern and forgot. It wasn't until noon that I remembered today was like class separation, but you, the little ghost of the Uchiha clan, really had no manners at all. I'm your team leader now, so you need to speak in respectful language, okay?" Gangshou glanced at Yuzhibo and said, "Forget it, my Uchiha clan's Bazi doesn't match yours Qinsho clan's Bazi. I feel like it's already good enough without a fight." Yuzhibo shrugged and said, "Not to mention anything else, just let the other party hang them up for a few hours, and now he just looks at this woman and feels resentful. Chi, don't say anything, she's Lord Gangshou." Shi Rihong beside him tugged at his sleeve and whispered, "For the sake of red face, I won't argue with you, anti-gang. Thank you for my generosity, anti-gang," Yuzhibo said with a smile on his face. The words made Shi Rihong and Jing Yin shiver on the side. It was simply a provocation to Lord Gungate. They had a feeling that Yuzhibo was dying here today. A little kid with hair not even growing straight, his mouth and skin skills are quite impressive. Gangshou gave Yuzhibo a glance. "I don't think I need you to take care of my hair growth, but from your appearance, it seems like you're just an old maid. A leftover woman in her 30s, like you, probably won't be wanted in this lifetime." The smile on Yuzhibo's face was even greater. This made Gangshou wish he could just give Yuzhibo a punch. "Don't you know that a woman's age is very private? As a result, you still kept your mouth shut in front of me, saying, 'Auntie,' one by one. I didn't give you a weird punch on the spot, it was all because of my good intentions." Subsequently, the private room fell into silence. Until a waiter pushed open the door of this private room and brought in the grilled meat, the cold atmosphere inside slowly eased. A full meal. Yuzhibo expressed satisfaction. Although he has a lot of pocket money at home, coming to such a high-end barbecue restaurant would be a huge expense for him. In simple terms, he couldn't bear to part with it, and today is different. He naturally enjoyed the treat at Gangshou. "Today, I really appreciate Teacher Gang's hospitality." After finishing their meal, the four of them came out of the barbecue restaurant, and Yuzhibo also said with a smile on his face, "All right, that's all for today. I understand that you and I will gather at the task center tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Gangshou glanced at the three of them and said. Just now, while eating grilled meat at the barbecue restaurant, Gangshou asked them to introduce themselves, and the two of them, Zirihong and Jingyin, naturally introduced themselves in a proper manner, making him different. He imitated the self-introduction method of Chimu Kakashi. So when Gangshou was with him, he only learned his name, and he didn't say anything else. As for the identity of his grandson, the eldest elder of the Uchiha clan, whether Gangshou can trace it, he thinks it should be impossible to conceal it. It was a great surprise that he was able to be assigned to Gangshou's subordinates during today's class division. Because in the original trajectory. Before the graduation of Naruto Vortex, Tsunade should have only had one disciple, Mitsuki. But it seems that his appearance changed everything. Shirihong, Jing-in, and he formed the 9th class, and Gangtae became their team leader. If there's no tricks involved, he really doesn't believe it. Is it the arrangement of the 3rd generation Hokage? On the way to Yile Lamian Noodles, Yuzhibo Chi was lost in thought. His thoughts were surging. He was thinking about the situation this time, but in the end, what he guessed was only 2 points. Firstly, due to his travels, he became the only biological grandson of the elder of the Uchiha clan, which led to some changes and led to such a situation. Secondly, he was targeted by the high-ranking officials of Kiba. Perhaps at this moment, he had become a chess piece in the hands of the high-ranking officials. The reason why he was in the same team as Yuriko and Mutiny, as well as one of the 3 ninjas, Tsunade, as their team leader, was all due to the arrangement of the high-ranking officials of Kiba. The reason for this may also be related to his identity as the only biological grandson of the Uchiha clan elder. Overall, at present, neither of these 2 judgments seems to be a good thing. If it is the first, it indicates that he has unconsciously changed the world, and the plot is no longer what he saw in the anime. It is very likely that in the future, some of the rightful plots will disappear directly. If it is the second, it includes the first necessary but some changes, and in addition, it is also necessary to be wary of the gaze from the senior management of Kiba. If he becomes a chess piece in the hands of the senior management of Kiba, the situation is really not optimistic, it's really a headache. Yuzhibo couldn't help but sigh in his mouth. At the end of the day, his strength is not strong enough. He still needs to become stronger, stronger, stronger. He is so strong that he can easily handle any situation, so strong that no one can use him as a chess piece, so strong that he can directly ignore those so-called conspiracies and tricks. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? Chapter 9. This is a headache-inducing 7th class. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Come to Yile Lamian Noodle store. He calmly let his shadow clone come out and released it. The memories and exhaustion of most of the day were attached to his body, but fortunately he could still bear it. According to his memory, nothing else happened to him when he worked in Yile Lamian Noodles. Just do the work that a waiter should do normally. He is responsible for serving guests at the front desk, while Uncle Yile is the chef at the back. He only needs to send Yile Lamian Noodles and collect money. In memory. Many ninjas also come here to eat noodles. But more are ordinary civilians. The reason is also very simple. Cheap. He also couldn't help sighing that the price of Yile Lamian noodles is really cheap, as long as there is a little money on hand, it is basically affordable. The price is only a few hundred taels. Compared to other big restaurants outside, they are really much cheaper. And the proportion of money here, compared to his previous life, is about 10 taels equals 1 yuan. A bowl of noodles here is only about 300 to 500 taels, and the portions are full. In terms of taste, there are some restaurants that cannot compare to it. The meal has already passed at this time. There are also slightly fewer people. Just occasionally a few people come over. It is precisely because of this that Yuzhibo chose to come and release the shadow clone to switch back. Return to Yile Lamian Noodle store. Uncle Yile, there are really few people in this area. Yuzhibo smiled and said. It's very normal. After all, the meal is over now. Generally, people who come here to eat Lamian noodles come at the meal. At that time, there were many talents. Yile said with a smile. By the way, Uncle Yile, it seems that his sister-in-law is about to give birth. Yuzhibo suddenly remembered the last time he came and saw Yile's wife holding a big belly here to help. Seeing the other party's belly so big, it was easy to guess that it was the rhythm of almost giving birth. Yes, it's fast, it's fast. As soon as he mentioned this, Yile's face also showed a brilliant smile, as if he was genuinely happy that a new life was about to be born. After all, this was his child. Do you like boys or girls? Yuzhibo said. I like both men and women. Yile obviously doesn't care about that, he doesn't have the old tradition of valuing sons over daughters. Then I congratulate Uncle Yile in advance. Yuzhibo smiled and said. Seeing the other person's happy appearance, he can only offer blessings. He is different. Women will only affect their speed of working. Ding-ling-ling. At this point, someone has come in. Welcome, may I ask what you want to eat? Oh, it's you guys. Yuzhibo took a look at the visitors and was stunned when he saw how many people came into Yile Lamian Noodles' shop. He didn't expect that the people who came were Bufeng Shuimen and others. Bufeng Shuimen brought his class of students, Chimu Kakashi, Yuzhibo, Tu, and Noera Lin to the Lamian Noodles' shop. Yuzhibo, it's actually you. Yuzhibo and Tu were also very surprised to see him and exclaimed. Chi, why are you here? Noera Lin asked unexpectedly. As you can see, I'm working as a part-time worker now. As for my identity, the waiter of Yile Lamian Noodles shop doesn't know what you want to eat. Working. Upon hearing these words, Yuzhibo and Tu fiercely twitched the corners of their mouths. Does Grandpa Yuma know? Yuzhibo asked with soil. Do you think I would tell my grandfather that I work outside? Yuzhibo gave Yuzhibo a direct look of, are you stupid, to let the other person experience it well. You're not short of money, if you want to work, it should be me, right? Yuzhibo muttered with soil. Fool, I'm contributing to the economic circulation of Konoha, you know what? Yuzhibo opened his mouth and just started pulling around aimlessly. As for whether Uchiha Daitu can understand. He felt that with the other party's intelligence, it would be very difficult to understand. Well, sit down, now it's time to eat noodles. Bufeng Shuimen said with a smile, interrupting Yuzhibo's idea to continue speaking with Tu, then turned to look at Yuzhibo and said gently. Jun, let's have 4 portions of Lamian noodles. Okay, Uncle Yile, 4 bowls of Lamian noodles. After recording in his notebook, Yuzhibo also shouted at Uncle Yile. Jun, have you waited for the teacher yet? Bo Fengshui asked with a smile. You're talking about that woman who drinks excessively. She's really a headache-inducing woman. I don't like her anymore, and I don't know if there was some kind of brain teaser from above, insisting that she bring me from the Uchiha clan. Yuzhibo said helplessly. He feels a headache when he thinks of the drunken appearance of Gangshou now. As a team leader, he always feels a bad premonition. There should be their considerations on this. Bufeng Shuimen also smiled awkwardly and explained. In fact, he didn't understand why Gangshou, who comes from the Thousand Hand clan, was asked to bring a Uchiha clan member, especially since this Uchiha clan member is the only biological grandson of the Uchiha clan elder. For anyone, this may not necessarily be a good thing. After all, any slight understanding of the discord between the Uchiha and Shinsho clans is very clear. I won't say it for now, but your team is also very headache-inducing. Yuzhibo glanced at the team of the Feng Shui Gate class. A person with a cold air all over their body, as if they were just about to say, don't suffer me. There is also a silly appearance, which is very worrying that one day a task will be skipped directly. As for Lin, there is an even more complex relationship added. In the original work, Daitu actually liked Lin, and Lin seemed to like Kakashi as well. After the Battle of Kamawaki Bridge, Kakashi seemed to have formed a friendship with Daitu. If it weren't for Daitu's feigned death, the relationship between Kakashi and Daitu would probably have become the same as Naruto and Sasuke. He felt a headache after reading the complex relationship. Sure enough, Class 7 is not a serious class. P.S. Thousands of rivers and mountains are always in love, can we throw a flower? P.S. Regarding the issue of upgrading data and using watermarks, I will explain it once. I will only write this data once at the beginning, and I will not write it again later. So, don't mention watermarks. If I don't write it, you may say that I don't have the data, write it randomly, and even if you say I have watermarks, the author will find it difficult.